The move in question? Prime Minister Netanyahu's authorization to build hundreds of housing units in Judea and Samaria.
It's important to understand that now we are entering a more difficult time with President Biden, who will soon be coming into office. And so Netanyahu is trying to take advantage of the moment before Biden takes office to create a few facts on the ground.
Netanyahu has his own political concerns as well, with Israel facing another election in March.
One way of getting support from the right-wing voters is by announcing there's going to be new building in Judea and Samaria. It doesn't mean he's going to follow through on it after he's elected.
100 of the 800 approved housing units are in Tal Menashe, the home of the late Esther Horgan. She died in a terror attack while walking near her home last month.
I think it's a suitable answer to the horrific murder that happened here 3 weeks ago, where our enemies here are trying to end life. We intend to add life. There will be some sort of retribution, but we will add more life here and add more families here, and our enemies will know that the murder will not help them and will not benefit them in any way.
Reclaimed during the 1967 Six-Day War, Israel considers Judea and Samaria its biblical heartland, promised to the Jewish people by God. Palestinians and much of the world call it the West Bank, view it as occupied territory, and want to see it become part of a Palestinian state. David Rubin, former Shiloh mayor and author of Trump and the Jews, said Trump has been very good for Israel.
President Trump has been the best president in history, in the history of United States-Israel relations.
Among his accomplishments are recognition of Jerusalem as Israel's capital and moving the U.S. Embassy to Jerusalem.
That's a fait accompli. Biden's not going to go back on that. Then, of course, the recognition of the strategic Golan Heights in the north as Israel's sovereign territory. The recognition that the Jewish communities in Judea and Samaria are not illegal, which is a big change from what Obama, Bush, Clinton, what they all were saying before that.
And in a dramatic shift of U.S. policy, Secretary of State Mike Pompeo recently became the first top U.S. diplomat to visit Jewish communities in Israel's biblical heartland. Palestinians were angered by many things Trump did, including his Jerusalem moves, defunding of the UN body responsible for Palestinian refugees, and the Abraham Accords between Israel and 4 Arab states. While Biden is considered to be a friend of Israel, he is also expected to be more sympathetic toward the Palestinians. Rubin says he hopes Biden won't pressure Israel to give away its biblical heritage.
Being fair-handed means that you do what's right. And what's right is that the land of Israel was given by the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob to the people of Israel. That's what's right. And that's what Joe Biden has to learn about.
Meanwhile, the foreign ministers of Germany, France, and Jordan met in Egypt. They released a statement urging the resumption of credible negotiations between Israel and the Palestinians and reaffirmed their support for a two-state solution. So for Israel, the heat is on. Some fear the favor Israel had with Washington during the last 4 years is likely to be replaced by pressure the Jewish state felt before Trump took office. Julie Stahl, CBN News, Jerusalem.